Available features like the V8 engine, the
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the K-Ref app to listen from anywhere.
Football Factory Football to commemorate their inaugural SEC season. To connect to the game you love on a deeper level, to get truly game day ready, you need the best quality football designed by and for your Sooners. How do you own the only official on-field Sooner football? Go to BigGameUSA.com/KREF and get your piece of Sooner history today.
As we wonder why our kids are struggling, someone is getting bullied. As we discuss how to improve their mental health, someone is being harassed on social media. As we wonder why they're skipping school, someone is crying themselves to sleep. Knowing the signs is the best way to prevent bullying.
Please just leave me alone.
Learn the signs at sandyhookpromise.org.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping, and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.75%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 Home Creations.
APR 6.411%.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Who wants a game ball? Who wants to win that football that I've been talking about every single day? Anybody? Anybody out there? I know several in the YouTube chat want to win this football because they're already going on and on about, hey, this would look great in my corner office. Cherokee Sooner says if I win the football, I promise to never run a jet sweep with it. You can win this football, BigGameUSA.com. It's got the OU and the SEC logo on it. We will be giving away during the final hour of Locked In today. But here's the deal. Sorry, text line, and we will have more giveaways in the future, maybe with another one of these footballs because there's another one around here somewhere. But text line cannot win this ball today. You can only win it if you are on the YouTube live stream. At KREF Sports, go subscribe to us there, and you'll have a chance to win this awesome football that we've been promoting for the past few weeks. So hop in the comments there. I'm going to send out a trivia question that you will only be able to see via the live stream. You won't be able to hear it if you're listening via the app. But we wanted to give a, tip of the cap, a little bit of a salute and a thanks to all the people that have been joining us on YouTube for the past month. So that's why we're going about that there. Should be fun. Floyd Boucard?
Oh, gosh.
There's someone in the YouTube comments going insane about Floyd
any
Boucard.
time there, huh?
All right, Todd, what's going on here? There's so many comments in here today. He in recruiting like he was at Clemson. John Hover, whoever that is. How do we lose a recruit to Miami?
Well, okay.
Is Bates cooked? Man.
Goodness gracious. I want to take you back to what I said the day of Floyd Boucard's commitment. You got him on board. That's great. Can you keep him on board? Can you hold him until signing day? And I will also bring you back to something that I said throughout the entirety of Floyd Boucard's recruiting process since OU first got involved. He goes to Miami Central High School.
Yeah, it's been a feeder school.
Every single player, pretty much without exception, that has come through Miami Central in recent years that has had an offer from the University of Miami, that the University of Miami has actually wanted, they've wound up committing to the U. And so the reservations surrounding Floyd Boucard and whether he would just ultimately end up at Miami like seemingly every other Miami Central kid ever, that's not a new thing. This is not out of the blue. Floyd Boucard, when doing his commitment interview, had mentioned, I'm still open to taking visits in the fall. So again, kind of like Cortez Mills, those two guys both left the door open when they committed to Oklahoma. So you can't be too terribly surprised by this. Now, that doesn't make it any easier to swallow. Still staring down the barrel at potentially losing one of your more impactful commits on the defensive side of the ball and one of your more impactful commits on the offensive side of the ball. But this is not anything that is unforeseen or out of left field.
It's very unfortunate, though. I mean, it's not.
Oh, yes.
It's not what you hoped clearly would happen, especially since Miami actually feels like they got a bit of momentum with their football team right now after that. I say big win at Florida. Like, it was a big win on the scoreboard.
It was a win.
It was a win against Florida in a dominant fashion. So I'm sure, all 87 people that actually go to Miami games down there are very excited about how the U is playing and how they're trending this year, but less than ideal that Floyd Boucard, Miami Central defensive lineman, is reportedly going to visit the Miami Hurricanes this weekend. 6'3", 315 pounds. And it'll be interesting to see kind of, what OU does from here. What's Floyd's situation moving forward? Does OU try to pursue another defensive lineman? Because our question with Cortez Mills is, well, do they go get a fifth wide receiver? I mean, you don't have to get a fifth wide receiver, but if you could go get someone that you really like, and whether it's an Andrew Marsh or someone else, like, hey, let's kind of circle back here, and you feel like you can get them flipped somewhere or get them committed in this class, you would take a fifth wide receiver, but it's not absolutely important that you do so. And not that you don't have other defensive linemen in this class, but if you were to lose Floyd Boucard to Miami, I would think that you would try to go find another defensive lineman in this class, just seeing how important that spot is.
Yeah, I mean, you feel it a little bit more if Floyd Boucard bounces than you would with Cortez Mills. You do have Trent Wilson committed. He is a top 100 player in the nation at the defensive tackle position. You have Kamari Moore committed, who is a very strong defensive tackle prospect in his own right up at Lee's Summit, Missouri, Lee's Summit North High School. And those would be your only two commits in a world without Floyd Boucard. Now, the immediate recourse, I think, if indeed Floyd Boucard were to back off his commitment or to flip, would be to re-engage with two former priority targets at that defensive tackle position that wound up committing elsewhere to far less prestigious institutions, at least in a football sense, before even taking their scheduled official visits to Oklahoma. I am speaking, of course, of Cole Breeler, currently committed to Stanford, and Christian Evans, currently committed to Virginia Tech. So with the relationship that Todd Bates has cultivated there, more than worth it to at least hit their line, see if they're interested. I mean, neither Stanford nor Virginia Tech, is playing outstanding football.
No.
For the moment. So
Virginia Tech lost to Vanderbilt. 2-0 Vanderbilt. Sorry, let me show some respect here.
You could angle for a flip there in either of those cases. Or you could just go down the board and try to identify a late riser or two and see if there's somebody that fits your criteria that is still out there on the open market. Although at this point in time, I think those guys are going to be very sparse.
Cole Breeler from New Jersey, the Hun School, is that correct?
You're right.
Yeah, the Hun School. How could you forget the Hun School? A defensive lineman from the Hun School, I was really excited about that possibility. Then he goes to the other coast and commits to Stanford. And it was like, oh, come on, man. If you're from the Hun School and you're going to go to liberal Palo Alto, come on. Yeah, let's circle back around that one, right?
The Hun School alma mater of current Oklahoma offensive lineman Logan Howland, who I think is going to make his first collegiate start this weekend.
How about that? Getting some younger players in the lineup. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully a lot better than what it's looked the first 2 weeks. 2-star Chris in Chicago. This one made me laugh. It's been such an uplifting week on KREF. I think I'll go listen to a stream from 100 days ago and relive the grind discussions.
The what now?
The grind discussions. I don't know what the grind discussions are, but I'm kind of afraid what was going on in this station 100 days ago during the dog days of summer. That kind of scares me of what was going on. The Waffler says, man, I called this. Do you guys remember he is committing to OU to get more money from Miami? I guess the Waffler said he's only committed to OU to get more from Life Wallets.
And
apparently.
money is going to be involved in Miami's final pitch to Floyd Boucard. What's interesting is at the time, Miami wasn't pressing all that hard because they thought they were going to get some more coveted defensive line prospects that they did not end up getting. As of this moment, they only have one defensive tackle committed in the 2025 cycle, and he is a 3-star. So there's a need there. And where there is a need for Miami, they will throw money at their problems. We know this to be the case. Are you prepared to fight a big-time NIL battle?
Me personally, with someone else's money, yes, I'm prepared to fight that NIL battle. I'm ready to be on the front lines of that battle. Is Floyd Boucard that important of a piece to this recruiting class that you got to go head-to-head with Life Wallet to try to win that NIL battle? Or do you just go back to the Hun School?
How much money does John Ruiz have these days? Isn't Life Wallet not doing very well?
Should I Google John Ruiz, what his net worth is?
No, Google Life Wallet.
Life Wallet.
See what they're doing on the New York Stock Exchange.
Life Wallet worth, let's see, a little over $22 million is what we're looking at right now.
That's it? The company?
MSP recovery. I guess stock market evaluation, $22.45 million is what it looks like right now. Look at this, evaluating the stock market to see OU's chances for a defensive lineman. My God, what have we done with ourselves? We got to get away from this in a hurry, or it's going to spiral out of control. So I'll do that by saying this, or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know I like the fact or fictions on Rivals. You know how much I love those, especially when there's an OU question in there. I came up with 6 of my own. 6 of my own, all right? My own questions. You got to answer fact or fiction. This is essentially, I am National Recruiting Director at Rivals for about 5 minutes here while we go through this.
Sounds great. Gorndog or Tyler McComas? Choose your fighter.
My guest today is Parker Thune of OUinsider.com. We will see how he answers these 5 questions. Parker Thune, fact or fiction, OU won't get another commits in the 2025 class.
Fiction. Absolutely fiction. No question about it.
Especially now with this Floyd Boucard
They're going to take another high school linebacker, whether that's Melendez or whoever that may be. And, yes, if you lose Floyd Boucard, you need to press for another defensive tackle.
Fact or fiction, OU will be a top 8 class on Rivals when it's all said and done on signing day.
I'm going to say fiction on that one.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, the one thing that would cause me to change my tune is a commitment from Andrew Babalola. But you're looking at losing 2 of your higher-ranked commits right now in Cortez Mills and Floyd Boucard. And where are they sitting, 9th right now on Rivals?
I think OU sits at 8 right now. I believe I checked before the show.
Okay. Yeah, I can't I can't count on them rising from where they are right now.
So they've got 5 wide receivers committed. We know the situation with Cortez Mills. So if not another wide receiver offer, OU actually needs to go find another tight end in the 2025 class. Forget that 5th wide receiver to replace Cortez Mills. They need to use that scholarship to go get another tight end in the 2025 class. Fact or fiction?
Okay. They need to go get another tight end. I see. There's a lot of nuance tied up in that question. I guess my answer would be fiction. I don't think they need to go get another tight end. You would love to go grab another tight end, no doubt about it. I mean, heck, who was the recruit that like Barry Switzer stayed over at his house or whatever?
I don't know. Text line will help us out on that one. I mean, maybe more than one. I know. I know he always used to look in the backyard to see which beer the dad drank. So when he's offered a beer, he could say, "Well, only if it's a Pearl."
Yeah, well, I mean, shoot. Regardless of what happens the rest of the way for Oklahoma in the 2025 class, I do think at some point Joe John Finley should drive out to Washington, Oklahoma, and tell Nate Roberts, I'm not leaving your living room until you flip.
Or just send him constant highlights of the Jake Roberts touchdown from the other nights. This could be you.
Yeah, it could be.
This could be you, but you playing. I mean, come on, man. That's one from like 6-7 years ago that people used to say. All right, James Nesta last year, Marcus James this year committed. Well, James Nesta signed last year. Fact or fiction, you're concerned about the small amount of linebacker gets in the 24 and 25 classes.
Fiction, I am not concerned. Not concerned at all. Oklahoma oversigned at linebacker in 2023. They got one guy that was very clearly a bit of a developmental project in Taylor Heim, and that diminished the need to stockpile linebackers in the 2024 and 2025 classes. Again, I do think they will get another one out of the high school ranks. Whether that is Elijah Melendez or a guy to keep an eye on right now is Caleb Burns, 3-star linebacker from the Houston area. He's currently committed to Baylor. That's a guy that some folks in the building are impressed with, to the point where if you do need to go down the board and go find somebody else to try to flip, to try to bring on board, he's probably going to be one of the first, if not the first, to get a call.
2 more. OU will either get 4-star offensive lineman Andrew Babalola or 4-star linebacker Elijah Melendez to commit in this class.
Fact.
Whoa!
Fact.
I did not see that coming. I thought that was an automatic fiction.
No, I think they'll get one. I couldn't tell you which one.
Okay.
But especially now that Mills and Boucard are waffling, I feel like Oklahoma is just going to lay it all on the table and just like, all right, we're going to do what it takes.
All right.
And I don't necessarily think you can do that with Babalola, but if you don't get Babalola, I can see Venables saying, we are not missing out on Elijah Melendez. Do whatever it takes.
Last one. I know that he committed to the Huskers this week, and I know that he's a Nebraska kid and he's wrapped up in all the hype, but fact or fiction, it's not out of the woods just yet. It's not just 0% over for OU and Christian Jones. Fact or fiction?
Fact, it's not over. What would have to happen is Nebraska misses a bowl game again.
Well, I mean,
Nebraska has to do a complete 180 as a program right now because they're 2-0. They've looked pretty good. Seems like they're on the up and up. They would have to hit a brick wall in a huge way and go like 4-8 in order for that even to be a conversation.
I don't think that'll happen. However, in terms of the most Nebraska things that have ever happened to Nebraska, losing to Northern Iowa this week would, I don't know if it'd be at the top of the list, but it'd rank pretty high. Losing to Northern Iowa at home would be very, very Nebraska, and also quite funny as well.
Yeah, if Nebraska managed to lose that football game, all bets are off at that point.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll get back to this football game coming up on Saturday between OU and Tulane, who might be back for the Sooners, some of the bigger storylines involving this game. And a reminder, you want to win this official game ball right here with the OU and the SEC logo. Go subscribe to our YouTube page, KREF Sports. We'll be giving away that football on the YouTube page in about 20 minutes. More to come next right here on The Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.
Waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans. Dorsey Jones, Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They sell Buicks and GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. They have all that and incredible pricing as well. Dorsey Jones, Buick GMC. Before we get to football, the OU baseball SEC schedule just dropped. OU will open up SEC play on the road at South Carolina. Pretty cool ballpark out there in Columbia. OU will return home to play Mississippi State at home for its first ever SEC baseball series, March 21st through the 23rd. Then they are at Alabama. LSU comes to Norman for a 3-game set. Vanderbilt comes to Norman for a 3-game set. Then you're at Mizzou, at Georgia, Ole Miss comes to town. A little revenge there, right? At Kentucky, and then Texas comes in for the SEC regular season finale May 15th through 17th. So how about that as a home baseball schedule and conference next year? Mississippi State, LSU, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, and Texas. Jeez,
and
dude.
I've said it before,
Wow.
but y'all better get SEC ready in the baseball department, folks, because if you don't show up and show out to OU baseball games this coming spring, these opposing fan bases are going to take over the ballpark.
Dude, that is a big boy conference schedule right there. Mississippi State, LSU, Vanderbilt. I mean, how many have all those teams? Well, Texas hasn't won one since like 2005, but Mississippi State's won a title recently. LSU's won a title recently. Vanderbilt, when was their last title? Did they win one with like Kumar Rocker or something?
I'm fairly sure you have 4 of the last 5 national champions.
Ole Miss,
LSU,
of
Ole
course.
Miss, Mississippi State, Vandy. Yeah, 4 of the last 5 national champions in college baseball.
Jeez. And then Texas. I believe their last one was like 05, but they're a solid baseball program. Biggest storyline for OU-Tulane this weekend. OU offense. Just the OU offense in general. You know what? At least last week, we could kind of narrow it down to the OU offensive line. The OU offensive line was the biggest storyline, I thought, going into the OU Houston game. Mm-hmm. So probably not great that the overall storyline is the entire offense now.
No, and I feel better about the offensive line right now. I do. And I think that's because they're close to getting back to, well, I shouldn't say full health because you have Garen Hatchett done for the season and you still got Jake Taylor working through some things. But you're close to getting Branson Hickman and Troy Everett back. And I was impressed with what Logan Howland did on short notice coming into that football game to play left tackle last week against Houston. It wasn't an immaculate performance by any means. It wasn't like Caden Green in the Texas game. But for a redshirt freshman to get the call in a tight football game when he'd only ever seen very brief garbage time snaps in his collegiate career to that point, I thought Logan Howland did an admirable job. And like I said earlier, very good chance he makes his first collegiate start this weekend. I think if we want to narrow it down beyond just saying the offense, I think it's Jackson Arnold.
Sure.
I think that is the biggest storyline. What can he do against a Tulane secondary that is weak, against a Tulane secondary that you ought to be able to exploit?
And can you run the football, man? They haven't been able to run the football and hit on big plays in the run game. They really haven't done much, really anything notable when a game is actually close, when the game's actually been close in the run game thus far. They've got to be able to pop some big runs this week. I know that's going to be difficult against a Tulane team that got a solid defense, not in any way the best defense that you're going to see this year, but a solid defense, right? Like you've got to show some life in the run game. Because here's the reality of the situation, Parker. With what you got coming up on the schedule, if you don't start showing signs of life in the run game, it doesn't matter what Jackson Arnold, what he does. He's just going to be put in a terrible situation.
Yeah, and you can be one-dimensional offensively, probably, and beat Tulane this weekend with how good your defense is. And that I think is probably not getting talked about enough. I think everybody is assuming, based on Tulane's performance last week and Oklahoma's performance last week, that Tulane is going to be able to give Oklahoma a run for their money. And as much as we talk about the offensive struggles, I don't think with this matchup we have talked nearly enough about this Oklahoma defense and what they could do against this Tulane offense to be able to effectively shut them down for 60 minutes. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Oklahoma holds them to 2, maybe 3 scoring drives, just like they did with Houston. And if that's the case, you're going to win the football game. You will. But I certainly think that beyond this week, if you are one-dimensional offensively, that will get exposed very quickly.
Especially against Tennessee, because their defensive line, but we know who James Pierce is. He's one of the better, pass rushers that you're going to see in the SEC, but there's a bigger picture to that. Where is Tennessee gettable? Just to look ahead for a brief moment, even though we got in trouble on that yesterday. We did it for 5 minutes on the rush. Where is Tennessee gettable? Back into their defense, And you've got to give Jackson Arnold, you've got to give these receivers the opportunity to get Tennessee where they're gettable, which is in the back end of the defense. But if you can't run the ball consistently, if you can't protect Jackson Arnold, it don't matter, man. He's not going to have much of a chance. And that's on the wide receivers, too, to create kind of open space for themselves. But you got to be able to exploit other teams' weaknesses. And right now, OU's just not in a spot to necessarily do that to their best ability.
No, they're not. And if Nick Anderson comes back, again, I think that has even a larger impact than most realize right now, because the combination of Anderson on one side, Burks on the other, and then Bauer Sharp in the middle of the field, that's going to be a difficult thing for any defense to contend with if Jackson Arnold is processing correctly and making the proper reads. And that seems to be a big if right now as well. A listener down in Texas, Sooner Steve,
what's up, Steve,
asks, this isn't a recruiting question, but are Parker or Brandon allowed to watch practices? If so, does J.A. make good decisions? Are the wide receivers getting open? Is the O-line holding up? Are they seeing the same issues in practice? Unfortunately, we do not get to watch practices. I wish we did, man, and I wouldn't mind if there was a gag order in effect for watching practices. We get to see very little practice, period. We'll get maybe 2-3 availabilities in the spring, and I think we got 2 availabilities this fall. That's all the practice viewing time that we get. I would love it if we got a little bit more than that, and in some beats around the country, Florida State, for example, the media gets to watch every single practice. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to work a beat like that? But for the situation that we're in at Oklahoma, no, we don't get a whole lot of firsthand access to what goes on at practice. Got to source everything from people who are there, sources within the program and close to the program who do have a pulse on what happens on the practice field. And I to sum it all up, Steve, and to address your point, or your question, I suppose, a lot of the issues that Oklahoma has experienced thus far aren't completely unforeseen based on some of the things that have happened on the practice field. The one thing you can't really simulate, though, on the practice field is injuries. And so as far as the execution on the field, what isn't happening on the field that should be happening, yeah, you know, there have been maybe some inklings throughout fall camp that you could run into those types of issues. But you also have the expectation, as you should, that things are going to get better as you get on into the season and you're spending every single day on the practice field and you have game tape to review and you're processing everything in real time.
Patrick says, love the shirts on the YouTube live chats. Thank you. We've been wearing them for every single day for 2 weeks right now. These are our Van Hoos Fence polos that we have. VHFence.com. Thank you very much for the compliment on the Van Hoos Fence polos. CBS Sports says the OU-Tulane game is the 6th best game in the SEC this week. A&M at Florida is number 1, which I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder if you think that's the best game in the SEC this week.
Is that just the DJ Lagway show?
Boy, I mean, like, it might be a close game, but I don't know if it's going to be a great game. LSU, South Carolina is at 2. Boston College at Mizzou is at number 3. Come on, BC. Come on, BC. If you've ever done anything in your life, go out to the Meth Rock M out there and go get a win. Bama at Wisconsin is 4. Georgia at Kentucky is 5. Tulane at OU is number 6. The worst game in the SEC, Kent State at number 7, Tennessee. So, yeah, it's probably ranked about right, this OU-Tulane game. And I think the storylines are just kind of the offense in general, the run game, Jackson Arnold. ESPN, the first thing they mentioned about it, like in terms of big storylines around the country, Mario Williams making his return to Norman, which had me thinking, and this is going to be way more likely now in the transfer portal era. We're going to see it this week, and we saw it last week. Who are the most notable ex-Sooners to come back with another team and play a game on Owen Field? Burnt Toast did last week. Mario Williams will this week. Like what? And this is to the text line of the YouTube chat. Who are some of the more notable names to once play here, leave, and then come back here and play in front of OU fans? Is Mario Williams one of the more notable ones?
Yeah, and you'd think there are going to be quite a few of them in the years to come because of the portal era and how frequently you see stuff like that compared to what used to be a pretty rare type of deal. Justin from Omaha says, so many top teams have freshman wide receivers playing instantly. I think Emmett Jones is an awesome recruiter, but is he just recruiting players that will eventually develop over time and not instant playmakers? Having a Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams would sure be nice right now. Boy, you're telling me, but look, Justin, that's not the greatest example in the world because
those dudes are different, man.
Yeah, those dudes don't just grow on trees. They don't abound. And Ryan Williams was always going to Alabama. Nothing was ever going to pull him away from Alabama. He decommitted and then recommitted without ever taking a visit anywhere else. And Jeremiah Smith, trust me, if you knew how much money was on the table for Jeremiah Smith, and he took a discount to go to Ohio State. I know that much. He did not take the biggest offer, and it's because Ohio State has a lineage of amazing receivers over the last few years. And Brian Hartline has become kind of the godfather of wide receiver recruiting in college football. But there were at least a couple of schools, and I'm sure you can probably guess which schools, given where Jeremiah Smith is from. But there were at least a couple of schools that had basically taken the blank check approach within reason with that kid.
From what I've
is unbelievable.
Seen and heard about those two guys thus far, I'd be very shocked if they're not future first-round picks. And I don't mean first-round picks in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean in like 3 years when they only play 3 years of college football. Like Ryan Williams is a dude. I think he scored on his first 2 touches ever at Alabama. First 2 touches this year, he scored a touchdown. So might he be wide receiver 1 when Alabama comes to town in November? Maybe. As a true freshman, he's that good. 404 says, Davis Bevel, come on, man. Well, Davis Bevel hasn't played.
He will, though.
Game. I mean, he will, but that hasn't
he
happened
won't play.
Just yet. He'll be on the sideline.
He'll hold a clipboard, wear a headset, something like that.
Slim Brady, not very notable, but Corey Roberson at SMU last year. Okay. 405, Caden Green will next year. Add him on that list. Boy, that's gonna be a hostile football game. Very hostile football game. YouTube chat says, does Pete Hughes count? Not a former player, but also hostile when he came back here.
Sooner Bump going, if you aren't gonna let our guys watch practice, you better start winning more games. I mean, I hear you, Sooner Bump, and I agree, but they are 2-0. Like I just feel like we need to issue that reminder every couple days. They are 2-0 right now.
There's
why still a 0 in the loss column for the time being.
That's why when I hear, and I've heard it today on the station too, is like, well, I'm not ready to just punt on the season just yet. I'm not ready to punt on the season. It's like, well, yeah, you don't punt on the season. They're 2-0. Dude, I get it. They don't look good offensively. I've seen every single snap. I understand. I've got real concerns as well, but they're not. This isn't Florida State. They're already 0-2 and eliminated from the playoff race. They're 2-0. Let's just give it a couple of weeks at least before we punt on the season here.
That's a valid conversation right now if you're a Florida State fan.
Yeah.
Not if you're an Oklahoma fan.
They are allowed to play better offensively. I don't know 100% if that's going to happen on Saturday, but they are allowed to look a lot better offensively and maybe hit on some plays down the field that they haven't already. That's why, they need Nick Anderson back, dude. Branson Hickman and Nick Anderson back, just those two guys alone, I feel would be – it didn't solve all of your issues. It didn't solve all of your problems. All of a sudden you're not a top 10 offense in the country, but I bet you're a heck of a lot better than what you were last week with just those two guys back.
What if they win like 13-10? What if it's last week in repeat?
I can't do that again, man. I can't. I can't do that. Well, hey, if they win 13-10 this week, they'll be 3-0. But get ready for the most miserable week you've ever had leading up to a game next week. Talking about this Tennessee matchup. That will not be a good time talking about that game.
No, because I know what the conversation is going to be like, and it's going to be like exactly – it's going to be the exact same conversation that we all had going into the Texas game in 2022, where you kind of know what's coming and you're doing your best to sugarcoat reality, but reality is going to hit sooner or later.
Yeah. All right, we're going to give away the football coming up next. If you haven't already, go subscribe to our YouTube page, KREF Sports, and we're going to give it away next. Congrats or good luck to all that are involved. Coming up in about 4 minutes. Keep it locked on the Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner Magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.
It's about a life change. And my man, Dr. B, is here to transform your vision. You could go anywhere for cataract surgery, but why settle? With Dr. B, you got the chance to not just remove the cataracts, but also to say goodbye to those glasses for good. Give Dr. B a call at 405-755-7700 or visit alcok.com today. Experience the difference with Dr. B and see the world like never before.
Every day, we rise, challenging ourselves to work for what we believe in. At U.S. Border Patrol, protecting our borders is more than a job. It's a calling. Agents answer the call, working together to keep our country and communities safe. If you're ready for a new mission, join U.S. Border Patrol and go beyond. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers/Border Patrol.
Drive back to school in style with a brand new 2024 Honda Accord LX for just $28,677 with rates as low as 2.9% APR. Plus, enjoy the Honda Service Pass, complimentary maintenance for 2 years or 24,000 miles. With advanced tech, great gas mileage, and classic Honda reliability, you can focus on what really matters, getting you where you need to go. Only at Fowler Honda. Stock number H240920. Purchased by 9/3/2024 with approved credit through Honda Financial.
All right, here we go. Let's give away a football. It's got a cool OU and an SEC logo on it. Here's the question. Is this showing up good on camera, by the way, Grayson? Is that good? Okay, right there. See, text line, can't see it.
I know the answer.
You do?
Yeah.
So you would have won the free football? Comment on
what do you mean would have? I just commented the correct answer using my burner.
Okay. Did you really? I'm
yes.
trying to find it. First one in the YouTube chat here to say the correct answer.
Has it shown up yet?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at my own. I'm like 10, 15 seconds ahead here. So I think we have a winner. Hold on. I think we have a winner, and I think that is Kaysen Warren. Is that correct? Is that your burner?
That's my burner.
Nuh-uh. Are you serious?
I win.
Shut up. Is that really your burner?
No, it's
okay.
not my burner.
I was like to say, have you really ruined this by having a burner and put it on everyone? And why did you create the burner, Kaysen Warren? Okay, Kaysen Warren, congratulations, nice job. The correct oh, wait, no, that's not it. That's not the right answer, actually.
Wait, what did you
Sorry.
think the right answer was? What was Kaysen's answer?
Wow, I totally messed this up. That is not the right answer, actually. So we got to keep going. This guy did score a touchdown. Forgot the own answer to my own trivia question. Jeez. This guy did score a touchdown this game, but no, it is not. It is not Gavin Freeman. That's not who it is.
I know the answer. It's a very easy answer.
This
honestly.
is very tricky trying to keep up with all the responses that are coming in here. It was the answer right below Kaysen Warren. Maybe that's why my eyes went there. Bradley Worthington says Dylan Gabriel.
Yep.
Had a touchdown rush. First touchdown in the Brent Venables era. Bradley Worthington, you are the winner. Sorry about that, Kaysen. My bad. Gavin Freeman scored a touchdown that day, but it was the third touchdown to make it 21-0. Bradley Worthington. So here's what I'm going to ask of you, Bradley. I need you to comment on the actual video, and we will get a hold of you that way to get you your football. So that's how we're going to do it. Look, text line's even trying to get involved in this, aren't they? Dylan Gabriel.
We already told you can't win. Got to be watching the YouTube stream.
A lot of Gavin Freeman submissions, though.
I know, because that's the one that people remember. But it was an 8-yard rushing touchdown by Dylan Gabriel, to my recollection.
Yep.
I tend to remember the first touchdown of the season. It was obviously DG in 2022, Drake Stoops in 23. If you go back to 21, it was Spencer Rattler. It was Seth McGowan in 2020. That's an off-the-wall answer for you. Then, of course, this year was Bauer Sharp.
It was Bauer Sharp. And, hey, when's the last time OU's had two tight ends that have scored in back-to-back weeks? When's the last game OU's had 2 games in a row where the tight end has scored? I might pass out if it happens again this week.
Here's a better
Mark
question.
Andrews?
Honestly, when was the last time Oklahoma had multiple tight ends score in the same season? I think the answer is 2021.
God, it would have to. There's been a lot of years where they haven't had more than one tight end play a significant snap.
I mean, last year Austin Stogner scored once, and that was the only touchdown for an Oklahoma tight end all year.
Man.
So.
Well, okay, so we can't always believe what we see in non-conference play, right? Are we to believe that the tight end is going to be as involved as it looks like they have been throughout the first 2 weeks, or once Nick Anderson comes back and they get healthy, it's going to fade away?
I think you got to have consistent production from the tight end. You got to have the tight end constantly on the field in the SEC. Or I shouldn't say you need to have him constantly on the field. You need to have the ability to constantly deploy the tight end. And Oklahoma does have that ability right now. And what I think is cool is there's a legitimate conversation to be had. And the text line has been having it for a couple of days as to whether Bauer Sharp is truly the top option or whether it is, in fact, Jake Roberts because of what he can provide not only as a pass catcher but as a blocker. Again, Tyler, when was the last time? I feel like we're saying this a lot, pertinent to the tight ends. But when was the last time you had a legitimate argument on your hands as to who the best tight end on the roster was?
Mark Andrews, I mean, that was not a debate whatsoever. He was clearly the best tight end. I mean, that one's last. I mean, that's been, I think, consistently the best position group that you've had on offense, or at least the most consistent position group you've had on offense. So will the tight end be more involved or continue to be involved with this offense? Well, if the wide receivers don't get better and the offense kind of looks like it is right now and no other playmakers emerge, yeah, and not just 1, 2. Like, I thought Jake Roberts before the year was probably going to have a minimal impact in the passing game, and maybe that's still the case. But I didn't think that I'd feel like I do now where, geez, Jake Roberts could be way more involved in this thing than I previously thought. Not just Bauer Sharp. Maybe he's kind of utilized as well.
Yeah, well, and what was everybody's big beef with Austin Stogner last year? Well, I take that back. People had many beefs with Austin Stogner last year. He was not creating much separation as a route runner, not super impactful as a pass catcher, but also there were many that criticized his blocking ability. And that's one thing that has never been in question with Jake Roberts. It's a bit of a question right now with Bauer Sharp. And so I think that's that's a unique dynamic that the tight end affords you, especially when you have a complete tight end who's not one-dimensional as a football player, is when he's on the field, you got to account for him as a pass catcher, but you also have to reckon with the fact that if they're going to run the football, if they're just going to play smash mouth with you, you got an extra guy. You got a sixth guy there up front that's going to be able to clear the lane.
I'll tell you what a sneaky big moment is going to be on Saturday, and it's not a guarantee that this happens, but I do have a feeling it's going to happen, and it has happened the first 2 weeks. You know what a sneaky big moment is going to be on Saturday in this game? When Tyler Keltner lines up for his first field goal. Perfect in week 1. Got the accolades. Week 2, had a chance. They really needed that field goal. And dude missed it and gave all the momentum back to the other sideline. So where are we at now with kicker? Well, I still think Keltner is your starting kicker going into this week. But if he misses another one, does that leave the door open for Zach Schmitz? It's a big kick.
You should have just left the conversation there. You should have just asked, does that leave the door open? And left everybody sitting in their cars or sitting at home going, good point, Tyler. But then you said Zach Schmidt's name.
Shut up.
Shut up.
I thought you were talking about Liam Evans there for a second. Yeah, it doesn't feel like Liam Evans is going to factor in.
Well, you would hope he doesn't have to.
Well, I mean, if Keltner can make a couple of kicks and not I mean, he didn't just miss. I mean, that's kind of the thing.
It was not a good miss.
That's the troubling thing. It's one thing if it just misses wide left or wide right, but did he barely hit the net behind the field goal post?
You could tell off his foot it was not going through the uprights.
I don't like to miss like that, man. So hopefully, which he's 75% on the season, which is what his career numbers are. But as we talked about earlier this week, he's going to have to be good. And he's going to have to be better than 75% with as many tough games as this team's going to play in, and points are going to be maybe hard to come by, seeing what we've seen from the offense thus far. He's going to have to be better than 75%. Have to be.
Puerto Rican Sooner makes a good point. This is Peyton Bowen's last chance to return a punt for a touchdown. That's right. Come on now,
I had
Peyton.
that down. Thank you, Peyton.
Fulfill my prediction.
I had that down for sure. Bowen at punt returner. This is Parker's last chance. Kaysen got mule-shoed by Tyler, says Cherokee Sooner. I know, I feel bad. I told him that I would send him a prize for that. Sorry. Doing the show and trying to read the comment section was, I guess, a little bit too difficult for me. Sooner Bump says if Keltner misses his next 12, he's still the kicker. Dang.
Is that how much people hate Zach Schmidt?
I guess so.
If he – gosh. At that point – hang on, folks. Tyler just choked. Tyler is actively choking. But no,
next 12? That kind of got me right there. I'm like, dang. I knew it was bad, but the next 12? You're willing to
You're
keep
going for it on every
there?
fourth down.
Who's to say that they're going to be able to attempt 12 field goals this year? That I don't know. I hope that's the case.
The Waffler is clearly using speak-to-text because he says, well, that means Tyler Calendar has not developed if he's still kicking 75%. I got to think Zach Schmidt has a better career percentage than that, but I may be wrong. You are wrong. Actually, Tyler Keltner is a 76% career kicker. Zach Schmidt is a 74% career kicker. So it's close between the two, but Keltner wins right now.
580. I have an idea. You guys tell me if it's dumb. What if we put the headset in Josh Bates' helmet, start signaling plays into JFA like we used to, and use the headset to make sure Bates can get the O-line squared away with blocking assignments?
I don't even know how to respond to that. I guess theoretically, yes, that is possible. That is a thing that you could do.
But how much longer this season is Bates realistically going to play? I mean, I think ideally that he gets, he's not starting here in the next week or two, I would say.
And maybe that's kind of the point.
And maybe it's harder to take off his helmet late in games so he won't get a penalty if he's got the headset.
Exactly.
That's what
there you go.
meant.
Chestnut checkers.
That's what they meant right there. Huh? No unnecessary 15-yard penalties towards the end of the game.
Yeah, after every single snap, they can just yell at him, Josh, don't take your helmet off.
Don't you think about it. Don't do it. Slim Brady, I've watched a little bit of the K-State-Tulane game, and Tulane had receivers streaking down the field wide open and had multiple chunk plays, and I just don't think our defense will give up those types of plays as frequently as Kansas State did.
And I believe that as well. Again, I don't know that we're talking enough about how well this Oklahoma defense matches up with Tulane's offense. And that's why I do think Oklahoma wins this game and covers. It's not because Tulane's a bad football team or overrated or they just caught lightning in a bottle last week against K-State. No, I think they're a good football team. But you pit them against a defense like Oklahoma's, they're going to have a lot more problems than they did a week ago.
Fantastic point by Monster Truck Guy. And I'll also be watching for this because it should have been a sign last Saturday. I think the entire game will depend on if we can get that Oklahoma flag unrolled.
Oof.
That was
a bad omen?
tough. It was a terrible omen.
Maybe that's how we should have known.
There's pressure on everyone this week, including the people out in the field unrolling the state flag this week. There is pressure on everyone going into this game against Tulane. 1-star Stillwater Sooner. Let's punt from now on while we're in field goal range. I trust the defense when the opposing team is starting inside their own 5-yard line. We'll keep scoring in 2-point increments. That's true. You missed the field goal, but you ended up getting a safety later on, right? So that may be the better game plan.
And shoot, you got a punter that you can trust these days. That's for darn sure. It's kind of exactly the opposite last season. You remember when Josh Plaster was punting for Oklahoma?
Unfortunately, yeah.
At the beginning of 2023. How he made it through 6 games as Oklahoma's punter, I have no idea. But you remember when Luke Elzinga, of course, he was doing that. Luke Elzinga was seeing action the first half of last season. It was just all coffin corner stuff. Like when they needed a pin, when they were in no man's land and they needed somebody to pin him deep, Luke Elzinga was the guy that was coming in to hit 9 irons down to the 5-yard line. But then, of course, when Luke Elzinga took over the full-time role, everybody was like,
what were we doing this whole time?
Who made this decision? Yeah, because, yes, Luke Elzinga was good, but when you contrasted that with how bad Josh Plaster was last year, it made 0 sense how Plaster won the job over Elzinga coming out of fall camp.
Any weekend visitors we need to look forward to? I mean, the Tennessee weekend's going to be the big recruiting weekend, one of their biggest recruiting weekends in a while. You got a top 100 edge player coming in this weekend for OU in the 26 class? A big weekend visitor list or not so much?
It's a pretty sizable list. The one you're referring to is Jake Krull. And, yes, he is expected.
Is he an IMG kid?
He is an IMG kid.
That's what I thought.
Yes. And, moreover, another kid that Oklahoma's getting on campus this weekend is one that I like a lot. Local name, legacy kid, Case Alexander from Washington, America.
He plays linebacker, correct?
He does.
Does he play – maybe he plays tight end as well at Washington. I don't know. But it seems like he's going to be a linebacker at the next level.
He's a dang good off-ball linebacker. Yeah,
he just recently got an OU offer, correct?
He got one in the spring. I think it was April that he was offered.
Well, Iowa State will try to get him because they got his older brother Coop last year, who was their highest-ranked recruit. Cooper Alexander, a tight end, just like his dad, Steven Alexander.
I tend to think Case will be staying home.
Hope so. Really good player. Really good in-state player, that's for sure. Geez, Washington's just – golly, they got some kids out there, man. They got some athletes. It's impressive what they've been doing. All right, that'll do it for Locked In. The Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked in the Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.